Good afternoon, everyone. My name is OJ. I've been working as a marketing automation intern here at Vector with the marketing team and AI engineering team. And I'm glad today to present my project, which is essentially some enhancements to Vector's partner portal. So we basically just had a recommended system and improve the search functionalities on the partner portal. So just a brief overview. We're going to talk through the problem, describe what the partner portal looks like, why we want to fix these issues with the site, show the solutions, how it works, the architecture of it. Then we'll delve into some of the roadmaps, where this product could go next, and afterwards, questions. So this is Vector's partner portal. I'm sure some of you are familiar with it. It's essentially the private side of Vector's website, only made for partners. So it's very content rich. I'm sure as you're seeing, it has a bunch of resources about GitHub repos and videos ranging from a variety of topics in AI. And yeah, I'm sure as you can see, it's a well-designed site. Looks really nice. And also, even outside of the partner portal, Vector's main website in terms of blog posts and publications is also very content rich, but that isn't really on the partner portal side. So what are our issues with the partner portal? Essentially, the content feed, as I'm sure you saw, is very generic. It basically gives you content based on what's posted most recently. And as much as that isn't terrible, we have a variety of users on the partner portal. They could range from people like NLP engineers at Shopify, people working in the health industry, insurance, finance. Some could be less technical, some could be more technical. And the partner portal gives all of them the same type of information. So that isn't very useful and meaningful to them. Then second thing we don't like about the website, its search functionality is very poor. As you can see, we searched NLP on the website, only got back 7 responses. There's definitely more than 7 resources related to NLP on the website or throughout Vector's whole content base. And also the results don't give you much info. It doesn't tell you what it is. Is it a video? Is it a blog post? Is it a publication? When it was posted? Even just a brief summary. So this search page doesn't really help the users navigate the website. So briefly, why do you want to fix this? As I mentioned, if it's difficult to find content in the partner portal, it's not providing much value to the partners. And having access to partner portal is one of the main value adds. So it's supposed to be like an advantage. You know, you're getting information that most people can't get access to. And if we want to improve this, we could likely see more retention on the website, and that could lead to people discovering more about Vector's projects that they didn't know about, and potentially more engagement. So see people asking more questions about what we're doing and potentially wanting to participate in more projects. So how did we fix this? So essentially, the solution came in twofold. We had a Flask web API that basically hijacked the search functionality from the website, and that handles all searching. And it also has a recommendation endpoint. So it uses the user's info and recommends specific content based on their industry, their company, how technical the role is, what they do. And the second part of solution is a data pipeline. So we need to gather this data somewhere, and it needs to be up to date to make sure that we're not providing content that cuts off at a specific date. So we just ran a data pipeline on GCP, and all that data has been ingested into a vector database. So just very briefly, a vector database is a bit different from a typical database. So instead of rows and columns, we have vectors. So we're basically just storing arrays of numbers inside a database, along with some metadata like potentially its ID, its date, and other little information. So we just want to clarify that quickly. So how the solution works. So the starting point is WordPress's REST API. So this was very useful because it gives us lots of access to specific details such as name, title, the date was posted, what categories the data belongs to. And this is done for videos, publications, blog posts, etc. So we pull data from WordPress, the API, and we also use some APIs like Vemo and Archive, just because the WordPress API doesn't provide us with all the content that we need. So for the system to work well, there needs to be a lot of content to it. So for instance, the videos, we used Vemo to extract the transcripts. We use Archive to pull some abstracts or some pieces of text from some of the publications, and we use Cohere to help summarize some of that text. So essentially, for each different content that we pull, it's converted into embeddings. So essentially just a list of numbers, and that is batch imported into our vector database. So now the database is running and updating itself, on a weekly basis. So how does it work from the end user? So the end user is on WordPress, so that's what we use to build out the site. Let's say they submit a search query, how can AI improve my business? So that query is sent to the API, which converts it into an embedding. So just one list of numbers. And then at that point, this is where most of the math happens. So we basically just have a vector space with a bunch of different numbers, different content, and we're trying to decide how best our query fits within or what content relates the most to it. So for now, we use cosine similarity search, but I'm sure as you know, different algorithms could be used here. We could look into some more robust deep learning algorithms to be able to actually provide more meaningful recommendations. So from there, few quadrants of the vector database returns IDs and metadata from what it found to be the best results. And then we send it to Cohere re-rank, which is basically just an endpoint that its main purpose is to basically take any search results and just refine it into what it believes are the most relevant again. So it's basically like a second pass at refining our results. And the output is quite literally just a list of numbers, which is the IDs that match the users. So basically just the IDs that match what we believe is the most relatable content that's sent back to the user on WordPress. And yeah, so just a brief demo again. This is what the partner portal looked like prior. So just most recent information shown first. And so now we just added a carousel at the beginning that takes the user's profile details and provides you with a couple posts I believe will best relate to you. So for instance, the test user we had here likes working on recommendation systems. So we see some details about that. And we also put finance as an industry. So we see it's given some information related to finance. And as well, we improved the searching. So we just search how to deploy AI models. And now we have more details, more relatable content. So we also have the types of the posts, when they were posted, the brief summary, just so the user actually knows what they're clicking on before they actually get there. And the hope is that all this actually contributes to people making more use of the site and getting more value out of it, because at the end of the day, that's the main goal. So roadmap, where could we see this project being taken next? So it would be cool to have a feedback system similar to Netflix. Netflix can tell what you like and what you don't. You can like movies, dislike them. So it would be cool to add that in the partner portal, because Quadrant has an endpoint that can take your preferred content and negative content, and from there actually recommend more eligible content. So that's something we could look into, because WordPress has plugins that could easily facilitate a feedback system. So that's the first thing. Second thing would be improving the quality of the recommendations. So we definitely want to push out more of the content that actually lives on the partner portal, because that is the private content per se. So the resources and videos in particular. So we'll probably need to work on some algorithms to make sure we prioritize those pieces of content. The marketing team could also look into creating a data set of what they believe is content that's most relatable to a different variety of users. So that way, when we use Cohere re-rank, it could actually have a much more informed idea of what we believe relevant content is. So yeah, we could implement that and fine-tune it with Cohere. Also work on some front-end improvements, so just making sure the content more visible, making a separate tab for just recommendations. Then lastly, it could be a good use case for AI engineering as well, to be able to dig in and really improve the quality of recommendations. And it could yield some interesting projects for other teams at Vector. So we already have some conversations with industry, because they really like the possibilities of this project. And the data architecture could be applied to a bunch of different projects. So we already have the database set up. we have the API set up, we could literally just create a new pipeline with a new database and have that serve whatever website or front end we want. So point is, this project could serve lots of different purposes at Vector in the future. So that's it. Welcome to any questions.
I think I missed that part. How do you provide some recommendations already, right? On the site, how do you?
Yeah, so the recommendations, we try using the search query, like asking what's the best content for a person in, let's say, finance works at this place and is a, let's say, data scientist. That didn't yield much relevant content. So we just use a cohere re-rank endpoint, and we take, since re-rank can't take the massive amounts of data, we take the summaries and push that to re-rank directly. So with the recommendations, we skip this whole part and just go straight to re-rank, because from what we tested, it gave us more meaningful content, but I feel like there's definitely more room for improvement. Quadrants could definitely help us in getting better recommendations, especially if we have feedback on what users like.
Does it take any input from the user or like a profile or?
Yeah, so essentially when the user logs on to, like when they get to the dashboard, it just sends the user details to the API. So it's just automatic. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome presentation. This is really cool. The information that you index into your vector database, is it just textual embeddings, or for the videos, do you get to embed any of the visual information into the vector database?
Yeah, visuals would have been cool. So it's mostly just textual. So transcripts, content from blog posts, some extracts from publications. So yeah, just textual for now, but that's something that we could expand to as well in the future.
Cool, nice. And then do you, so for blog posts, do you get to, you said you embed the data in the blog post itself, or is it just the metadata that you get from the API?
Yeah, so essentially the API lets us call data that is public to Vector's website. So for the blog post, the content is already embedded in the API. So that's what we're inserting into the Vector database. However, for the videos, because they're protected on Vector's website, the API just returns an empty string to us. So that's probably because it's protected. So we've tried finding ways around it, not that much results. So we just went with going straight to Vema and getting transcripts, which is actually better because you have the full length of what they actually discussed in the video. So
awesome. Makes sense. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.